Hello and welcome to the Romance Track here at Continual. I'm your host, Gail C. Martin, and tonight we are talking about hot summer love. So that can be stories that are set in the summer. That can be people who fall in love in the summer. We're just going to explore the heck out of this and have a lot of fun doing it. But before we start, let's let our wonderful panelists introduce themselves, starting with Layla.
Oh, of course. Hi, I'm Layla Dorine. I write a little bit of everything, all LGBTQ fiction and romance in pretty much every genre, from shifters to bikers to goodness knows what else.
Very good. VJ.
I'm VJ Allison. I'm an Indigenous romance author from Nova Scotia, Canada, and I have an upcoming release from Ecstasy Books later in the spring.
Very good. Nina.
Hello, I'm Nina Crespo. I write contemporary romance that ranges from sizzling to small town sexy.
Nancy.
I'm Nancy Northcott. I write paranormal romance and romantic suspense, in addition to historical fantasy and science fiction, which I write the last of those with Jeannie Adams.
And Maida.
Hi, I'm Maida Malby. I write multicultural contemporary destination romance. I'm a Filipino-American author too.
Okay. And I'm Gail C. Martin and Morgan Brice. As Gail, I write epic and urban fantasy, but as Morgan, I write urban fantasy, male paranormal romance. So let's talk, what's so special about falling in love in the summer? Why do we kind of put that as one of those ideals or bucket list things? So many movies from Greece on down, falling in love in the summer. What's so great about that? People are sweaty and hot in their sand. Layla?
Well, at least for me, I live in the Midwest, and as you can see, I'm rather bundled up right now because it was snowing earlier. So, for me, when summer rolls around, you're outside, you're not in as many layers of clothes, you're at the pond swimming, you're out in the woods. There's so many things. Like for me, a date night in summer is let's throw some blankets and pillows in the back of the pickup truck, drive out into the middle of nowhere, have a picnic, watch the stars. Maybe we get to see, my roommate and I one night got to see a whole meteor shower going on. And summer's got so many special opportunities. You can be at the beach, camping trips in summer. So there's so many things to choose from when you're writing about the summer. Cruises and parades and all these fun holidays, barbecues. I mean, the list goes on. I'm working on a summer book right now that is literally about a character who is organizing a community benefit. And so it's barbecues and it's food trucks and it's to benefit their community, and it's all the community members coming together with their talents to kind of put on little performances and plays and everybody's got their own little barbecue going, and you've got barbecue contests and pie, and you can do so much with it. And being a Midwest girl, we've got the fair. You can do a whole romance book. Fairs are 7 to 10 days long. I can write a whole book and just set it in the county fair.
Okay. VJ.
Well, for us, it's like walks on the beach. We have the highest tides in the world here along the Bay of Fundy. You've seen it, Gail.
Mm-hmm.
You know exactly what I'm talking about and how spectacular they are. Well, Nova Scotia has about 4,600 miles of coastline, which is about 7,000 kilometers, if you go in metric. There's lots of places to walk around and enjoy the sun, maybe get a little steamy fun happening, in a secluded part of the beach. And there's like Layla said, there's a lot of fairs that happen in Nova Scotia. We have a rich history here there's like a lot happening. My own hometown of Bridgewater has the South Shore exhibition, and they also have an international ox pull and everything like that. It lasts about a week. And I have set part of a story in that with the carpenter who has fear of heights and dragged onto the zipper on one of the midway rides. That kind of thing happens. And I don't know, I just love summer romances because of it's so cold. It's not really cold here in the winter, but despite the fact we're hurricane central for Canada, our summers are like hot, humid, steamy, and perfect for summer romances. Or that's my take on it. I don't know about anyone else's, but that's me.
I know what that zipper ride is at the fair, and there is no way you're getting me on it.
No.
I will be first in line for that.
Good.
And anything else that spins, drops, or flips you upside down.
I was a fan of the Orbiter when I used went on that 9 times in a row with a friend, and how dizzy you are when you get off of it. By the time that we were done, I was walking normally. I was so used to it. It was so much fun though. That was great times.
Nina, how about you?
Oh gosh, just echoing the things that have already been said. I live 10 minutes from the beach. So for me, summertime is definitely the perfect opportunity to take in the waves or just sit on the beach and enjoy the breeze. We like to hang out with our friends. It's great for date night, dancing on the deck, on a cool night. It's just cute clothes, cute shoes. I mean, just everything seems much better for me in the summer. And I'm a summer baby, so I definitely gravitate toward the warmer weather. My birthday's in the summer, so just all kinds of great reasons to celebrate.
Very good. Nancy?
Well, I agree with everything that everybody said so far, but I think also in the summer, there's a lot to do outside. And people are not bunched all in together. So I think it's easier for 2 people to go off by themselves without being in one or the other's house if it's warmer weather and they're outside. And then there's 4th of July parades and 4th of July celebrations and baseball games like Little League. There are all kinds of things for people to do in the summer that allow opportunities to get away and be private. Now, my only summer romance so far is Renegade Mage, and it's set in southern Georgia near the Okefenokee Swamp. When you go to the Okefenokee after about April, they tell you to wear insect repellent because the deer flies are out in force, which is really not very romantic. So, I mean, that's a consideration if you're going to think about the summer, because summer here is really humid. And so you'd be looking for shade and ice cream and watermelon. And I don't know if anybody else here ever had a watermelon seed spitting contest, but we did when I was growing up.
Here.
Yeah. And you could flirt with that. I can spit one farther than you can. Are you really doing this? Really? And then, that could be kind of a fun thing to do for the summer. And watermelon is only the summer, but you need a non-GMO watermelon because they have wimpy seeds.
This is true. Maida?
So I was born and raised in the Philippines, and I lived most of my life in islands, archipelagos. I lived in the Philippines, Indonesia, Singapore, Thailand, and the US. So our weather is mostly wet or dry. It's summer practically the whole year long. And so that's why I write about summer. I almost live on the beach and everybody's already half naked already, so it's so easy to just jump into the tub or whatever. And my characters are always showering because it's so hot. It's like a 3-day shower days in the summer in the Philippines. Singapore is so humid, so shower scenes, bath scenes, they always find themselves in my book.
I miss the island so much. I grew up on Guam. My parents were military. So Tagalog was like my 3rd language to learn, and I wish I still remembered more of it.
I can remind you.
Well, yeah, I also agree with what everybody said. I didn't grow up near the beach, but now that we live in reasonable driving distance of a beach, we took our kids every summer to Myrtle Beach, and so that's why it figures in one of my series. But I love walking on the beach. I love being by the ocean. I love getting a snow cone or an ice cream or any of the junk food that you buy on the boardwalk and walking down the boardwalk and maybe seeing fireworks that night over the ocean and maybe spotting a dolphin in the morning. And there's just something very romantic about the water and having the water nearby. But I also agree on the fairs and amusement parks. One of the best dates ever is to go to an amusement park and the French fries and the rides and just the lights. And then when it gets dark, everything is lit up, but anything can happen. And so those are some wonderful things about summer romances for me. Now, what romances have you written that are summer or summer adjacent? Layla?
Well, my first Comet Lake book, Waiting for Rain, literally the first line talks about it being mate summer. They are having their summer gathering, and the year prior, Rain had met his fated mate when they were cliff jumping off the waterfalls out there. And so Waiting for Rain is set, their gathering where they meet up again is set in the summer. Dust Trail Blues is set in South Mississippi in the summer. Which is not great for my character because he's heat sensitive and his motorcycle breaks down there. So he's not doing good when the tow truck rolls up and they haul him off to the salvage yard. But it becomes a salvage yard romance and mystery, because what better place to hide old bones than in a salvage yard?
This is true.
A few years ago, we did the Pride series, which was the Pride parades. So they were set in June, which was just a lot of fun because every book had a parade in it. So you get all of the paint and the half naked and the glitter and just being outdoors and having fun. So that was mine for that series is actually called Painted Love. And my other summer book is Devon's Boys, and it's set in Maine during the Tall Ship Festival, which is also when they break out all of my lovely lobster rolls and maple bacon donuts and all the wonderful things. In fact, Dust Trail Blues has the Blackberry Festival from down there, and all the amazing toppings for ice cream and snow cones that you were mentioning, which if you've never tried a pickle lime snow cone, Gail, you got to get on that.
Okay, I'll take your word for that. VJ.
I have actually two that are set during the summertime. Under Your Scars, published by Ecstasy Books. That's the one that has the exhibition in it, and the carpenter that's terrified of heights gets on the zipper. That's an interesting scene, to say the least. I mean, like, oh goodness, one of my beta readers read it and said, "What the heck are you doing to poor Seth? He's pissed about throwing up in the thing, and you made him get on the zipper." I'm here, well, it was a way for them to get closer, to be honest, that kind of thing, like more intimate rides and stuff. And my other book that's set in the summer, honestly, I don't have a hard copy of it at the moment. It's Feather Tartan Book 3, which is a series that that's currently ongoing. Book 4 is coming out sometime next month, early June. I can't remember which. It's set on the Bay of Fundy, and the one character is originally from Alberta. She moves out here to be with her cousin, who has been out here for over a decade with his and he's got a family and stuff, and they have a summer home up in the Annapolis Valley, up in Annapolis Royal, and she meets this guy and they fall in love along the shores of Fundy. They take a walk along Blomidon Beach and at low tide and everything like that. And fun fact, Nova Scotia, and if you're in Nova Scotia, you're never more than 50 miles from the shore here. No matter where you are in the province, you could be dead center and you're never more than 50 miles from the shore. It
Nice.
is so cool. Yeah, oh, I love it here. I don't like the hurricanes. They terrify me. But yeah, I mean, like Lila was saying, there's like the fairs, excuse me, Mm. A lot of fun stuff happens during the summer, like the festivals. We have strawberry festivals here. There's the Apple
Oh,
Blossom Festival up in the valley all summer, like for in April, believe it or not, because like there's a lot of apple orchards up there. I mean, like it's known for its apples across the Maritime provinces, which is Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Prince Edward Island, the three smallest provinces in Canada. And oh goodness, I'm just trying to think. There's so many different festivals and everything going on. Like every county, it seems, has their own festival, or every section of the province has their own. It's such a unique and varied culture here because we have Acadians, we have um like Mi'kmaq, like myself, the Lenauk, as we call them, the our people. There's white people, there's people from India, there's Chinese, other Asians here too. So I live in a melting pot, and there's so many different festivals related to all these different cultures. It's so amazing. I just love it.
mm.
One of these times I'm going to have to include one but the Apple Blossom Festival in April, but that's not for a while yet.
And all those
So
festivals have food, so sign me up. I will
yeah,
gladly go anywhere that has
and the local foods here are
cool
really
festival
good because
food.
we have Donaires, which was developed in Nova Scotia. We also have Moon Mist ice cream, which was another thing that developed here.
Oh,
I've heard of
That's
that.
really good. It's banana, grape, and bubblegum swirled together. And I don't like
oh,
grape flavor. I don't like grape flavored anything, but I love that. That's my favorite ice cream. And Donaires are some of my favorite foods. Like I
Cool.
mean, there were a lot of things that were developed here in Nova Scotia that's like pretty much best kept secrets. But if you ever visit, you got to have a Donaire and you got to have Moon Mist ice cream. At
That
least
sounds
try
like
them.
perfect stuff to do on a date.
It is. It's all
yeah.
perfect for, in my opinion, if you live in small town Nova Scotia or Halifax or provincial capital. Well, it's
Yeah.
perfect place for summertime loving here, if you ask me.
Nina?
Oh, wow. That's actually a hard question because I don't remember all of the settings. I will say probably my first series, the Birthday Dare series, where two women who are best friends, they dare each other to do things they've never done on their birthday. And so I remember that being set in the summer by the beach and them having fun with all of the shenanigans that happened with that. The current book that I'm writing is closer to summer because I do have a tendency to write books that are like spring to early summer. To me, that's just a really beautiful time in terms of, everything is turning and it's green and the summer's coming and there's just so much promise of good stuff to happen. And so it's the perfect opportunity to have good stuff happening in a book. Right now I'm writing my Bishop Bee Farm series. So, beekeeping, bees are a wonderful thing to see, coming into the summer and this time of year, and honey. We just recently went to a local, I guess you could call it like a bazaar where all sorts of crafts and food and everything was available. And there was a lot of honey there. And so right now, summer and honey are two things that are just really connecting for me.
Ooh, that works. Nancy?
I have two summer books. Renegade Mage, as I said, is set near the Okefenokee Swamp, so they're living in humid conditions all the time. It's a love on the run book, so they're not always there around the Okefenokee. The heroine is the Mage World's top cop in the Southeast, and he's their most wanted fugitive. So they focus more on that than they do actually on the weather. My other summer book is called Worth the Wait, and it's a secret baby story and a second chance at love. And the first time the heroine sees the hero after about a decade, she gets a call of somebody in her parents' house, and it's a small town. And so people know when people are out of town, there's somebody up there, y'all need to go check it out. So she goes to check it out, and the hero is up on a ladder fixing an upper story shutter. And because it's summer, he doesn't have on a shirt, and he's sweating because he's been up there in the sun fixing and so it's kind of a moment there with the two of them. And then his parents' property, where he is for a month because he's pretty much been ordered to take a leave of absence from his job. They have a pond, and his parents bring in sand every year and kind of create a little bit of a beach on the pond. So that was a chance to do a little bit of bathing suit action. And sort of, it's kind of a slow burn, even though it's a novella. It's not, they're not immediately ready to dive into this because there are issues related to the secret baby. And I will say it's not her baby. It's another baby, but it's a secret.
Okay, Maida.
So I would say they're somewhere adjacent because they're not in the northern hemisphere definition of summer or even the southern hemisphere, because while the Philippines and Singapore are considered in the northern, they're north of the equator. They're almost like the hot seasons are November, December, So I would claim that Boracay Vows, of course. I mean, you could see the beach. It's set in November, but it's very hot. There's barely any rain in November, although there were times that there would be typhoons and hurricanes as well. So this is a vacation romance. Not really workplace, although they work together in the same company. So it's a vacation romance. It happens within a week. So from Saturday to Saturday. So and they were in this exclusive resort. And so, diving and swimming and bikini, different bikini day. So half naked, showers, like they say. And then also Singapore Fling. So this is set from January to June. But it's also, it's hot and humid in Singapore. And this is book 2. There are different characters in the series. So it's the best friend of the female lead in Boracay Vows and the older brother of the male lead. So they're both expats in Singapore. So I consider it military romance because the hero is an officer in the Air Force. And the heroine is also an expat. She works in public affairs. They're not me and my husband, although I was in public affairs and my husband was in the Air Force. They're not me, but I based a lot of my experiences. I love many of the scenes in the stories that I write in my experiences. Like I've been to Boracay was my favorite beach in the world, and I was always there. Like at least there was time that I was there 5 times a year. So that's how much I love that place. And then Singapore, I was an expat in Singapore. And so like a lot of the things that I used to do, like dragon boat racing, and also like the festivals, like what we said, the Chinese New Year, also in Singapore, are all in the story, aside from, but there's also like a 4th of July because the hero works at the U.S. Embassy. He's the defense attaché officer. So in overseas, we celebrated the 4th of July a little bit early. So it depends on, when we can get hotels to gather. But it's usually close to the real 4th of July, like the last Friday of June or something like that. So that's part of the story also. That was the epilogue was during the 4th of July celebration. So So yeah, a lot of the, like what everybody has already said, festivals happening during the summer, or during the part of the year which is considered summer anywhere it is that I write from.
Okay. I've got a couple of series that have books in the summer. Badlands is my series set in Myrtle Beach because you've got a sexy psychic and a skeptical homicide detective hunting down supernatural killers in Myrtle Beach. I've single-handedly increased Myrtle Beach's homicide rate. Thank you very much. But we've gone to Myrtle Beach for over 20 years, and I love the place. It is, it's fun, it's touristy. It is not the, it's got lights and music, and you can call it ticky-tacky tourist if you want, but I love it. It's not the very refined, empty beaches like Hilton Head. Nah, you're right down in there with an amusement park and arcades, and I love it. And so, one of my heroes runs he is a psychic. He runs Grand Strand ghost tours right there on the boardwalk. He does psychic readings and seances for real. And he also takes ghost tours. And at the beginning, my cop doesn't believe a bit of this. He's been burned before on something supernatural. And so he's not falling for that again, but he's at a dead end on this case. And so he figures, well, what can it hurt? I'll go ask this guy who's probably a fraud anyhow. And well, hijinks ensue. But it's right there on the beach, on the boardwalk. And so it's at the beginning of the summer season. So you get a lot of the idea of living in a tourist town and what all that brings. And then in some of the other books, you get to see some of the other locations around Myrtle Beach, like a defunct amusement park and, other places. There's mini golf, of course, and all the other things that make a beach like that memorable. I love to write them into the stories because that's one of my favorite things about going to Myrtle Beach is doing all those things. And the food, you got to write the food in too. And then the other series that comes to mind immediately with a summer book is Treasure Trail. And that's in another beach town, very different vibe, Cape May, New Jersey, way up on the Jersey Shore, about 600 miles from Myrtle Beach, at least. Different type of beach, different type of vibe, lots of Victorian houses. And so it's fun exploring what it means to be a beach town there in what was the high-end part. Everybody's seen Snooki and the Jersey Shore crew. Cape May was the high-end, big Victorian houses. Let's try to attract the Nantucket crowd. And so it's got a very different feel to it. And that's one of the fun parts is, yes, it's a beach, but it's a different beach. It doesn't feel like that beach that was in the other book. This has its own culture and vibes and food and stuff. And that's the fun part about writing it for me. So is there a summertime festival, location, something that you would love to write in a book that you haven't done yet? Layla?
A couple actually. You'll have to excuse my buddy here. I have a whole Labrador Retriever on my lap.
Oh, I love labs. Sorry.
And she is just determined. Want to say hi, Jinxie? She is just determined.
Oh, he's so sweet.
I've got a golden retriever under my feet, so
I've got a Maine Coon cat over on top of my printer snoozing away, and she's made appearances on Continual too, so I get it.
All our pets are famous now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny. My dad's family is actually from New Bedford, Massachusetts, and I went to high school there. And you would think I'd have put the Portuguese Feast and the Whaling City Festival and the Seafood Fest in one of my books so far, but there's only been a little tiny mention, and it was just in Damaged Saints, my last Rocktoberfest book. But Johnny, who is one of the rocker characters, currently lives in New Bedford. And so when I write his book, which will be for Rocktoberfest this year for October, they're going to get all of the summer festivals. They're going to get all the awesome food, because you can't do New Bedford without the Portuguese Feast, especially that and the Seafood Festival. So that's my big one, is just getting my dad's hometown and all the lovely summer festivals in that book.
Okay. VJ.
My great grandmother was born in Boston, and
Oh
my
my
husband,
gosh.
she was a Nass, Naas. Her maiden name was. She moved up. They moved between down around New England and up here constantly, every couple of years, because it was normal back then to move back and forth.
And it's funny because my dad's family is actually French Canadian, from Montreal. And so my meme was born here, and she is the first generation to be born here. My dad was the second, and I was the third. So
my grandmother's generation, and then my mom, I'm the third generation out of that family to be born here in Nova Scotia. And my husband has relatives around the Quincy area and around New Hampshire. He also has relatives down around Myrtle Beach, actually, believe it or not.
Wow.
Ironically, I mean, it's so weird. I've got cousins down in North Carolina on my mom's side. Isn't it amazing how small the world is?
Yeah. So cool summer thing that you haven't used yet, VJ?
Oh my goodness, the LGBT Pride Festival. We just had our very first Pride Festival here in Lunenburg County last year, and it was so much fun. I went to the parade, waving, the pride flags and everything else. I'm always wearing my pride bracelet now. I want to do something set around that time. It's like the second week of July. So it's going to be like another summer romance course for me. That'll be number 3. No, 4, because could have been is a hot, steamy one that takes place in a tropical area. But anyway, I would love to write a story about that and include some of like some of the local businesses. Like we have a lot of small specialty shops here, including, my old business tech instructor, his wife owns one of the ice cream shops on King Street in Bridgewater. So I would love to be able to like write a love story or something that happens during the Pride Festival, or maybe even the Apple Blossom Festival up in Annapolis Royal, for that matter. Something. There's so many great ideas floating around in Nova Scotia. All you have to do is look.
And please excuse my dog who has decided to squeak his squeaky toy.
Oh, that's fine.
That's okay. Jessie's doing it behind me too. She's behind the chair now squeaking. VJ, we do a Pride series every year. I'll get with you after the show, because we do a whole shared world, like multi-author Pride series, and we would love to have someone not just be in America doing it.
Oh my gosh, you want a Canadian on? I'd be happy to do it. I have an LGBT romance out. It's honestly.
Awesome.
He's trans.
I'm going to let you guys continue that after the show.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
I love when everybody gets together like this. This is the great part about meeting folks. Nina, how about you?
Well, recently a friend just held a crawfish boil at her house. And so I could just imagine taking that and expanding it into something a lot bigger with either girlfriends or couples. I also love cooking, and I usually feature restaurants in my book as well. So I could just imagine some, beachside restaurant resort type vibe going on to write about, which would be fun. And then I had attended again it wasn't so much a festival as it was, I can't find the right word for it, but it was just a little artistic gathering, right, of artists and local people with food and crafts and those sort of things. But it had almost a bit of a kind of potion spell vibe that was in the air as well. So I think it might be fun to write something, from that perspective, a little summer festival that has a little something extra going on with it.
Okay. Nancy?
I have never written a story that has a small town 4th of July celebration in it. And I think I would like to do that at some point. So probably I will at some point. But I was in the band in high school. And so of course there will be a parade, and of course there will be a high school band because we have to have that. And then I love the Outer Banks. I don't really love them in summer because like when the heat index is 105 and you're trying to walk in the sand and your feet are sinking up to your ankles, that's not really great. But I think if I set it earlier in the summer, something at the Outer Banks would be fun to do because you got beach, got the Wright Brothers Memorial. I can always give them some sort of festival or parade. And then several of my friends when I was growing up played Little League and Pony League baseball. And I'm sort of thinking it would be fun to write something in the summer with a baseball game. So those three things kind of float around, and every once in a while they pop up and then they seem to pop back down again. But maybe someday one of them will stay sticking up.
Okay, Maida.
I have a lot of places that I'm thinking of doing, and lots of festivals as well. For the place right now, I'm writing a book set in Koh Samui in Thailand, and then I'm going to have a part of it Songkran Festival, which is their Thai New Year. So there's it's the largest water festival in the world, and so that's what's coming up. But I haven't set a story in Bali, which I also love. I lived in Indonesia for 1 year. I know a little bit of the language, and I've been to Bali like, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. So it's someplace I'm really familiar with. So that's another thing. And all my books, I always feature, especially the destination romance parts. There's always food. There's always, because that's the best way to take a reader into the setting of the story, have them experience the food, the language, the culture of the location that the books are set in. In the US, I'm actually planning an anthology next year with other Filipino American authors, and it's about the Filipino fiesta, which it always happens sometime in either May or June. So it's everywhere. I lived in California, in New Mexico, Virginia, Texas. We've always had like a celebration because May especially is Asia Pacific American Heritage Month, and Pacific Islander and Native Hawaiian. It's so long. I'm sorry. I messed it up. But it's it's that time of the year when we celebrate our heritage. So that's something that I'm interested in writing about. Also, that's one of my future series is set in Festival of Cultures type of environment, the planning of it, the execution of it, and it's every year. So there's a lot of situations. I've already written the like little synopsis of each stories, the characters and everybody. And then so a lot of culture based, celebrating the Filipino and Asian cultures in my upcoming stories.
Very cool. My folks need to spend some time at a fair or an amusement park when they aren't running for their lives and it's not haunted. It would be fun if they went to the amusement park while it was still up and running instead of defunct and in ruins and maybe zombies. So I think that it would be nice to write that in as an actual summer date for them. When they can be kind of off the clock and not solving a case and not chasing a monster or a warlock or one of those things, and just have their cotton candy and their snow cones and get to hold hands and ride the Ferris wheel and make out. So I think that is a goal. Well, folks, we are at the end of our time. So very quickly, I want to have everybody go around and please tell us where we can find you online. And briefly, if you have a new, recent, or upcoming book, give us a quick shout out for it. Layla?
I'm Layla Dorine. You can find me. I have a Wix website. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, pretty much everywhere. I have a blog, Rainbow Lyrics and Mellow Mushrooms. You'll find all kinds of snippets and tidbits. I have a Pride cruise for this summer coming out. And I also have it's called a Daddy for Summer Angel, and both of them are set in summer with different things going on.
Very cool. VJ?
You can find me on Ecstasy Books, Decadent Publishing. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter/X, whatever you want to call it. I have a blog called Word Processor, Romance, Cats, Kids, and Creed over on Blogger. Goodness, Instagram. I'm on Books, BookBub. I'm on Goodreads. I don't have a website right now, but you know, that could change anytime. My upcoming release is called Could Have Been. I don't know how well anyone can see the cover. Martine Jardin at Ecstasy Books did a great job. It's a Feather Tartan 4. It's about the cousin of Ewan and Dana from the first 3 books. He fell into alcoholism and he sent that to the Bahamas to recover. And while he's there, he meets a woman named Lauren and has a quick affair with her. And something happens that they wind up getting pulled apart, and secret baby involved, but you don't meet the baby till next time, until the next
Okay.
I am writing now. So
Sounds good.
should be out sometime from Ecstasy Books within the next few weeks, actually. Early May, I think. I'd have to double check with Jay, but that's all right.
Okay. Nina?
Well, you can find me at ninacrespo.com. All of my social media handles are there, as well as the blog with upcoming information. And you can also sign up for my newsletter, because that's the best way to keep up with all that's going on. My current release actually just happened. It's Expecting a Fortune. It's part of the Fortunes of Texas multi-author series, but all of the books are standalone. And it features, well, I think from the title and the cover, Expecting a Fortune, you can imagine what the expecting part is. But Bee is a restaurant owner, and unfortunately her restaurant has been sabotaged, and Devin is the restaurant critic who pans her restaurant. So they start out as kind of on the opposite ends of things, but when they meet, the chemistry is definitely there. And so it is a fling to a thing, unexpected surprise, single dad, overcoming the emotional odds to find happily ever after kind of romance. So a little bit of everything. And so, yeah, you can definitely pick that up today.
Very cool. Nancy?
My website is nancynorthcott.com. On X, Twitter, whatever, I am at Nancy Northcott. On Blue Sky, I'm at Nancy North. I do have a Facebook page. I'm not there very much, so the best place to interact with me on social media is X, Twitter. I have 2 upcoming releases this summer. Traitor Mage's Fate is the next book in the Light Mage Wars, and it's an enemies to lovers story. And then I have a standalone novel in the Outcast Station science fiction series. It's been really interesting to research because there's something lurking in the oceans of Outcast Station, and we don't know what it is. It's a first contact story, and so that's been a lot of fun to write too.
Very cool. Maida?
I'm on my website is maidamalby.com. And I'm everywhere on social media. I just got back on social media after Lent. So I'm on X, Pinterest, what else? As Maida Malby, TikTok. I'm also I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Maida Malby Author. And just look for Maida Malby or Maida Malby Author. I'm there. That's me. I'm the only one. I also write a regular column for Lone Star Literary Life. I have a column called Texas
Here.
Reads Romance, and I actually featured Miss Nina Crespo in March for her latest book, because it's set in Texas. So if you're from Texas, or you have a book set in Texas, or the main characters are set in Texas, let me know and I'll feature your book. And so it doesn't matter what kind of romance it is. I will feature it. Tell everyone you know. And my latest is actually this anthology called Forevermore. So it's a collection of romance short stories by Filipino American romance authors, 10 of us, and it revolves around a family in Napa Valley. So this is a wedding anthology. It's a sequel to Pasko Na My Love, which is a Christmas anthology. And it showcases, the Filipino American culture, food, and all sorts of tropes, like what happens, during weddings where there's insta love, and there's also second chance romance, and bridesmaids and best man and maid of
Love
honor,
it.
those sorts of things that happen during weddings, shenanigans.
Okay. And I'm pretty easy to find at gailzmartin.com, morganbrice.com. All of my social medias, and I'm on most of them, are one or both of those names. So if you spell them right, you'll find me. The most recent Morgan Brice book is Last Resort, which is the third book in my Treasure Trail series that happens in Cape May, New Jersey. So folks, thank you so much for being here. You've all been wonderful panelists. And thanks to all of you for watching and listening. There will be more romance coming up on Continual, so we'll see you online.